In this tutorial, I will show you how you can create these cool transition effects for your LinkedIn carousels. And don't worry, you don't have to be an expert in Photoshop. We can do this very easily in Canva, which is a free graphic design tool. So let's get into it and see how we can get this cool effect going. Hey guys, here we go. So we are inside Canva here, and you can see that I have taken my carousel apart. Basically, this is the single steps that we're going to create. So let's exit the page viewer. And as you can see here, all the single components have been allocated so that they transition into each other. Okay, so this is going to be the final result that we will create. Now let's take this bad boy apart and start it from scratch. Cool. So we are going to start over and create a design. So we're going to start here, custom dimensions. And the dimension is going to be 1080 by 1080, okay? Because we want the carousel to be square. So we are going to start with choosing a background to begin with. Okay, so I can take this gray here. And in the carousel, I had an image of myself, as you see, that was sort of split in half. So I have an image here, okay, but obviously this image, as you will see, is not good because we have background to it. So there's a very simple way, excuse me, how you can go and remove the background. If you head over to the website called Remove BG, this is where you can, remove the background seamlessly for your image. So we're going to start here by uploading the file that we want. Okay, and it's going to be on my desktop. Okay, we upload the image. And this is going to take a couple of seconds, as we can see. And boom, here it is. Like, it's pretty quick and does a really good job. Whenever you take a photo for a carousel like this tool works really well if the background is plain. Okay, so make sure you're against the white wall. This will make the job easier. Obviously, if you're outside, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, it won't work as well. But I'm pretty happy with this result. So we're going to download this. You can also download as a high-res, but I think you have to be subscribed with that. This image here is going to have an okay resolution for what we're going to do because the carousel is going to be quite small on phones anyway. So we're just going to go ahead and download this. And then we are going back to Canva and upload over here. I'm going to upload our image with the background that has been removed. So this is the one over here. Yeah, there it is. Oh, so okay, this is the image over here, and what we want to do is we want to adjust it and make it bigger. And here's where we're going to start to play with the transition, guys. So basically what you want to do is you want to use this guide here at the bottom in order to have the picture and use it as guide. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to push the image slightly over to the edge so that the shoulder is going to appear on the next page. Okay, so make sure though that the bottom of the image is at the bottom of the background so that you can use this as a guideline. And the next step now is let's add also a little arrow into that. So I want to add like another graphic to sort of show the transition better. Actually, before we go ahead, you can also adjust the image here and increase the brightness, increase the contrast, so it looks a bit better. Yeah, I like the look of that. So, okay, nah, it's much better now. It's a bit brighter. Yeah, cool. So now we can go over to elements and we can add this arrow here that I like quite a lot because it sort of indicates that you have to swipe to the next slide and it gives another transition effect. So what we're going to do is, first of all, actually we want to choose a color. I had this orange here that grabs the attention, and we're gonna place it right there. Okay, what we're gonna do is we wanna send this layer to the back so it's behind my head. So I'm gonna say send to back. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do now is we wanna create the next slide showing this transition. Okay, so actually before I go ahead, I will want to move this little shape here so that the border is online with the background. It's gonna be easier for us to work with later on, and you'll see why. And if you use the arrows from your keyboard, actually, you can push this up so that it's lying flat on the border completely. And we can even go ahead and make this bigger if we want. Cool, sweet. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to duplicate or copy this page. So we're gonna copy this page here. And what it does is it's basically allowing us to now move the image and complete it basically. So on this slide, we're going to have the other part of the shoulder and the point of the arrow. So in order to do that, and this is why important that you keep the image over here, guys, because now you can just slide the image over and kind of like really eyeball where my t-shirt ends here. Okay, there's this little bump there, and then there's a couple, you know, little spot there, and we see if we can trace it here again. Okay, so there's that bump, and then there's a little bit more of space, and then this is where my shoulder is going to be. So in order to check if that looks on point, we are now going to go to the page manager that will show us how the transition fades. And don't worry if it looks a bit wonky, guys, because on LinkedIn, it's going to look better in a later stage. Okay, so don't worry if there's too much of a gap here, because the space here in Canva is larger than in LinkedIn. So make sure you really match it with the image that you have there. Okay, so now we want to add the point of the arrow too. So what we do now is we go on the second image and we make sure that we drag this arrow, keeping the border on top. And now we're going to sort of eyeball once again where this arrow is. Okay, so there's going to be that little folding bit there. Actually, let's look. Oh, Command Z. Okay. This is obviously not traditional Photoshop. As you can see, this is a bit of eyeballing involved. So let's look how it is on here. Okay, cool. So as you can see, yeah, the transition is been done. Cool. So now we can go back to the first page that, and we can add a title. So we can add a text here, and I'm going to say, I think we said, you know, how to, I think we had create carousel transitions in with Canva. Okay, and we are going to allocate that to the left and drop it here. Let's do that. What? Create carousel transitions with Canva. Okay, we can perhaps adjust the spacing in between. Yeah, cool. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, perhaps I can bring my face forward. So right clicking here, and we're gonna bring my face forward so that it covers the S. That looks quite cool. All right, so let's go back to the page manager. And as you can see now, we've created the first part of the carousel, okay? What's important now, we are going to create the same type of text here in the second slide, okay? So I recommend that you guys, not sure what that is. Okay, I recommend that you guys copy this layer here with text into the next. No, sorry. We have to make sure that we select the, this is where Canva gets a bit clicky. Okay, I have to send my face
back in order to be able to access this. Okay, make sure you copy this layer and that you now paste it in here. And I'm doing this because we want to keep the same size of the fonts throughout the carousel. You don't have to, but I think it'll look nice and consistent if we would have the same size. Okay, so here on the second, we're going to say want to create carousels like this. Okay, so this is the second text that we're going to use. And now we're going to add a nice little transition. It's going to be simpler to do this one. That sort of swifts into the third card. Okay, so actually, how do you spell carousel? Oh, it's just one S. Yeah, cool. So now we're going to add the next transition. And for that, I'm going to use an element. So basically, it's this box that you can change shape. And for this one, I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use this dark blue. Okay, and I'm going to select this and we say send to back. So now this is going to stand out a bit more. Okay, so okay, want to create carousels like this. And what I've done here basically is I've highlighted this word. Okay, but this piece here is now the piece that is going to transition into the next card. Okay, if you remember the look. So what we do now is we're going to copy this page once again, and we're going to delete the photo, delete the arrow, because that's nothing to do with it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull in this piece over here in order to create the transition to the next one. Okay, so let's see how it looks on the page manager. See, now we have this transition here, and now we can build from here. Okay, so now we're going to go back into this card, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste another blue square, and now we can sort of write something else on top. Okay, but before that, let's actually bring this layer here forward. So we're going to right click it and select bring to front. So now we have this this one staying in the front. Okay, so now we can add we can change the writing once again. So I'm going to say watch my tutorial on YouTube. Okay, and I'm going to bring this down a bit. I'm going to have this aligned here, and now I'm going to create the next transition into the slide. Okay, and for this I'm going to make this one smaller as well. There's no real rule to it, guys. Like, you can do it as you want, really. So now I'm going to copy this little stripe, copy, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to put it up here, and this is going to select, this is going to create the next transition into the next slide. Okay, so let me just pull this up a bit here, and as you can see, I'm not a professional graphic designer. This is just something that, you know, you could make this more in proportion, and you know, if you really want to go to town, you can measure the distance here from the border up and down here, so it has to be a bit more centered. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So now this little stripe here is going to be the next transition for the next card. Okay, so once again, we're going to duplicate this slide here. Okay, have it the same, and now we're going to drag this all the way to the left and get rid of this one here, because this was the old transition. We delete that. Actually, we can just, oh no, sorry. What we can do is push this there and pull this over. Okay, and we can get rid of this one. Okay, so let's have a look. Cool. Okay, so we have the next transition there that has been created, and as you can see, it looks quite cool. It's quite engaging, because you need to sort of follow what the carousel does. Okay, so now we can change the wording here once again. We're gonna say follow link in comments. Okay, now I want to push this up a little bit and maybe do something like this just to put it on the line. Okay, and now we can do another little feature. We can go under elements once again. And by the way, guys, you can add all sorts of stuff here. The important thing is that you always place them in the half so that you can create the transition. Let's go here and see all. And let's say I want to add this last arrow here in order to create the last transition. Okay, so I'm going to place this here and I'm going to change the color. I'm going to make it orange this time. But before I do that, I want to create another little sort of stripe. So I'm going to copy and paste it and place this down here. Let's make this one a bit shorter. Okay, so this is going to be the transition into the next, as well as the arrow. So with the arrow, we can do something cool, like so. So we're going to increase the size of the arrow. And by the way, it's very important now that whenever you split an image or a shape like this, you always want to keep the line here at the bottom in order to being able to transition it from the next side. So we're going to make this arrow even larger. Okay. We want to bring this layer forward, okay, in order to cover this. So I'm going to say bring forward. There we go. So now we're going to push this arrow out because we want the arrow actually to come out on the next slide. Okay, so kind of halfway like this. Okay, so make sure once again that this line here is on the border so you'll be able to guide it in the next and final slide. So now we are going back to the page manager to see how it's looking. Okay, so follow link in comments. Okay, we've got the arrow there. Now we're going to create the point for the next one. So once again, we are going to copy this page. And now this is very important. Once again, you want to make sure that this, borders are in line with the lines here. Okay, and we are going to have this transition here as well, this little bit. Okay, we are going to take it from here and pull it right over there, and it's going to make sense in a second when I show you how it looks. We're going to delete this part here. Okay, we're going to bring this forward so the text is not covered anymore. And let's have a look now. Awesome. So we're getting all the transition on point. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to say pull this down all the way. And now I'm going to change the text here. I'm going to say get creative. Okay. And now I'm going to place this here and maybe shorten this little stripe. Get creative. Okay, so this is it. Now let's have a look at the final result. Okay, that looks pretty cool. It's quite simple. It's nothing like super complicated, but I think it does the job. So once again, we have placed the image at the beginning and pushed the shoulder a bit over, making sure that the image here was at the bottom. Okay, then we started to build on that. We had to always duplicate the image and push it over in order to create the transition. And the effect is quite cool. Okay, so now that we are ready, we are going to, you can exit here once again, the page manager. Okay, and you can go on download. and we want to save this as a PDF print, okay? High quality. And you're going to download all the pages. Download. Cool. If you want to use this for Facebook, by the way, or Instagram, because they also have carousels, you would want to download that as a PNG, okay? Because LinkedIn wants the PDF standard as it is a document, but you could also upload this to Instagram by doing a PNG, okay? So that works the same. So now let's have a look at our downloads. And this is the carousel over here, guys. Okay, obviously there's nothing such as a transition here, but it's going to look like this once we put it up on LinkedIn. So let's do that. Here we are. Okay, we are going to head over to LinkedIn, and we are going to create a post, but we're going to upload a document. Okay, so share a document. We're going to choose file, and under the downloads, wherever the things are that you're going to download. So it's here, open. And now you want to add a title to it. So let's put transition tutorial. Okay. And here you can sort of have a look of how it's going to look like. But you don't see these transitions yet. You can just see them once you've posted it, because it's going to show the preview of the next slide. Okay, transition tutorial. Cool. I'm quite happy with that. So let's go ahead and click done. And you're going to add the caption here as always, but I'm just going to skip that and post it. Okay, we have posted the carousel, and I'm going to show you how it looks on mobile, because you can't see it from the desktop straight away, but on mobile it'll look really, really cool. So okay, and here we are on the LinkedIn smartphone app, and as you can see, the transition fade nicely from one card into the other, and you can see the continuity of color with the blue stripes really leads into the next card. So I'm really happy with the look of it. Cool, guys. So basically try to replicate this carousel as well. You can get creative and create your own transitions, add different images to it, play around with text. There's heaps of features that you can do. This is obviously just a guideline on how to, on one way on how you can do it. Cool. I hope you'll have fun with that, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.